First of all, do you guys see my slides?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, thank you. Well, first of all, um, can you see me?
Yes.
yes,
So I look pretty good, right?
Yes, you
yes,
do.
you
Yeah.
do.
First
You
of
look
all,
marvelous.
yeah, having been through what I've been through, and I want to thank all of you that have come on and those that couldn't make it. I understand. We love you. We need you. We want you to represent CO Space. I hope you'll study this program because it's important. We have a longer session. I really hope you can cancel some things because it revolves workshops and you doing some work. This is half the year is gone. You are not in a normal market. You're in a market that hasn't existed since the Great Depression. If you think you're in some other market, I'm going to tell you a lot of information so you have facts. And you know a lot of these things, but you don't have a way to sort it out. And so, for those that have been long time, and Richard, you can chime up later, because 20 plus years, you've watched the accuracy of the reporting on the economics. And, I don't say this by myself. It's not Bernie Dohrmann. There are a lot of people on my team at very high levels that are giving me the data, and we compare, we do conference calls, we do a lot of work. And when I say this, I'm going to be wrong on the economics. But since 1988, I haven't been once. And in the stock market crash that has happened in 87, in 9/11, in 2000 and 2007, we saved retirement plans and wealth. And I can't tell you the people that said, God bless you, thank you, I would have been wiped out, because we told them what to do and we were right. But most people, of course, read and don't do anything, they don't act, and we have a problem. So let's look at, because a lot of you have other businesses, you're doing things, how's it working for you? Now I'm going to give you an example of a couple of points of information that I just summarized. All the data that you're reading is wrong. So I want you to understand that. And the reason is this: if there's anything we've learned, this is all nations, all leaders. And if you say, what's the problem? I reported the problem when I said this is going to be a pandemic in December. And I said what we need in January is to get a G100 super agency cooperate and coordinate this for the world, and we'll beat it back. If we compete like dogs, we're going to go into the greatest depression we've ever seen economically. This is not SARS, it's not MERS, it's not Ebola. We're so right now. Now, what have we seen? All the nations are competing like dogs. All the politicians are competing like dogs. I've said shame on every Democrat, shame on every Republican. Now, I know these leaders. They're all doing the best they know how. God, they're trying. But this is overwhelming. It's all new. And the data they get so bad. And they're being whipsawed by interest. They're stealing trillions for this medical emergency. And insiders are making a lot of money, and we're being profit fodder all over the world, not just here. And everybody's trying. I mean, they're trying, but it's new. It's never happened. It's unfolding. The news today from Houston, 60% of the cases are young and under 50 in the hospitals. Why? Because it's mutating, which we told you. We also, front page news today says, we've learned so much about the virus. We now know to turn people on their stomachs so they don't get the worst pneumonias. First of all, what's killing people is not the pneumonias, and it's not a respiratory issue. Saturday, we put the long-term scripts report, all the data on it, and it's eye-chilling. If you read it and share it with your healthcare professionals, they have more data than you're going to get anywhere, and that's the real data. That's clinical, the latest on the mutation, etc. It's got 100 times the spikes that it had in January, and it's much more stable to infect the young, and it is 10 times more contagious than it was in January. That's 5 months. This new virus has passed the biggest killers of humanity for malaria, for tuberculosis. Those are millions, about 3 million a year. It's killing a person every 15 seconds. And then the other part is that you don't have data. There's no real-time data yet. There are massive disabilities. People get well, but don't recover, can't go back to work, have disabilities and impairments that are going on 5 and 6 months later and no recovery. They're not recovering. And those numbers, we don't have it. We don't have any real-time data. I want Jeff Bezos to be president. I mean, God, why can't we have real-time data so we know? Everything you're reading is weeks old, and they don't have it. And most of people that have it and conditions are not tested at all. So when the CDC says it's not 10 million, it's 20 million, that's correct. So now let's go through some review of our data that we've been giving the world. The worst first. We tell the leaders, shame on you for not telling us the worst first. A global depression is coming. A super crash in the markets is coming. Deflationary prices, meaning all assets are bubbles. Gasoline should be 99 cents. All assets are bubbles by manipulation and speculation. The economics are abusive, and AI has stripped regulations away. It's too complicated to go into, but we have to re-regulate the world financial system with the G100, just like I wrote in Redemption. I told you what the problem is in Redemption and what the solution. All of you should reread it with a ruler, line by line. It's the most important work of our time. It's going to consume, because of the errors we're making in leadership now, years to reset the world. Death and suffering are coming. This pandemic is out of all control. All weekend, you heard everybody in the world say the window's closing to get control because we reopened too early, because what the Pope said, I put words on Sunday on my blog. The words are very powerful. I said, here's what the head of health said in New York City. Here's what President Putin said. Here's what President Trump said. And here's what the Pope said. And when you want the truth, the Pope said. The Pope told us the truth. Now, because the background noise is loud. I fear that when you have a depression, we've never had one without wars. So I get nervous of how it's heating up in China and India and Pakistan, and North Korea and South Korea, and just, Iran. I just get nervous that war is out there. All right, so keep that in your mind as an option that we may also have to go through. Now, bad data, don't be fooled by the data. We don't have real-time data. In an AI world, they can't track real tests. They can't track real infections. We don't have any real current, honest, accurate data. It's much worse than the data shows. All the health experts say it's double what you're getting. Worldwide, double what you're seeing. So leaders are trying to prevent panic at all costs, because panic will destroy us. So 7 billion of us need to turn into each other, not on each other. We, the people of the world, need to calm down. The leaders are doing the best they can. It's regrettable they're competitive instead of cooperative, but they have to try. I mean, they're going to lie to us to prevent panic, and they have to. But panic will come from their line. So the data on pandemic is fake news. It's much worse than you think, and it's out of control. Data on the economics is fake news. So I want to explain that to you. So I just can't give you the data. It'd take forever. But here's the fact. The markets are broken. So markets are run by debt. The biggest market is the debt and bond markets that fuel lubrication. They broke down in October. The Federal Reserve Board and all central banks in Europe, Japan, and China had to go into the market and buy at the federal bank level debt, or the debt market would melt down. The Fed started daily in October at 60 billion a day. By January, they were at $1 trillion a day. It can't keep going. There's not enough to do it. Then the stock market melted down. And in March, they started buying stocks. And the reason the stocks are going up is the central banks are buying. They're not letting it panic. They're not letting it depress. And I'll tell you something. I don't think they can hold it. And I'll tell you why. So the world has no accurate real-time data. We're on life support in the economy from central banks in an uncontrolled experiment that's never happened, and no one knows what the outcome's going to be. And they're doing everything they can, but it's in total panic city. They're panicked at the top, and you can bet on that. And experts like us must look at what we can get in data and make implication, what's going to happen, so we can take our business communities and make sure they are okay, because small business can make money and profit in any market if they have the right information, but they will die if they don't. And you are life or death. You are the medical inoculation for the life support of business today. So what do we know? The economy of the world is imploding. We're in an economic death spiral. Now let me give you some, politicians are telling us we've turned the corner, and all the science says it's all lies. I just talked to my uncle. He runs, I don't know the square footage, but it's enormous numbers of plants in Ohio for the auto and John Deere and food factories making all these special government spec for governments. They're just incredible. Thousands of employees, $1 billion of factory equipment and tools. And I said, everything's doing pretty well, right? Automotive's doing great. How you doing? He said, Bernie, we're 70% off. We're operating at 30%. It's going down from there. And we never saw this in 2007. And they're just lying to everybody. Now that's going to catch up. That data is going to catch up. It's not out there in real time. It's all happened in the last 90 days. There is a domino occurring around the world of bankruptcies. These are large. The first one is almost $1 trillion. It is one of the biggest oil and gas companies in the US, just filed today. These are dominoes going over. All their suppliers, all their people, all their payments they make on equipment, all their payments they make on buildings and oil leases are all defaulting. Then they will go bankrupt, and they will go bankrupt. This will cause demand to continue to decline, and price will drop. We deflated our price, reset our price. September did it in January, because we're in deflation. We had to give them other price options. We did that for you, bang, first, leading. Other companies got to follow our lead. You're not going to be able to do what you used to do. Apple's going to deliver a phone without a charger, without a headset, because they have no other way to raise the price. Price bubbles. Every asset you know, from a potato to steel to iron, is a phony, bubbled casino capital price that's at the end of a crazy spiral. These always burst out. The biggest bubble is a debt bubble, just like the Depression of 2006, 1906 and 1929. The debt bubble is the biggest in history, and it has to burst. It's bursting now. The global debt super bubble is going to burst. No one knows when, but I'm saying fall to spring of next year. So we're going to have a second wave that starts at the mid-year, and it isn't the summer and all the numbers you're going to see. The flu fell off 50% the last 60 days. The C virus is soaring out of all control, which we told you would happen. Fusi, who lied to us, said it would all be gone in May. You'd see it completely disappear and wipe out. Total lie. Now, I'm telling you, you can't trust the liars because it's your health. It's us. We got to know the truth, you know. So when we get to the fall, when these viruses explode, you're going to see a second wave into the winter. And I've been using, you know, the famous film series and writing winter is coming. This winter won't be like the winter that saw this start. This winter, you're going to go from 100 million to 1 billion infected next year. My table I published on February 7th. You can go to my blog and search carrier. I wrote the first article that no symptom carriers were super spreaders. That went all over the world in press. I wrote the first article that had tables. I said we'd pass 10 million by the summer. I got a lot of bad stuff from the White House on. It was way off, inflammatory. It's not 10 million. The CDC says it's 20. I said we'd have 50 million by the fall and 100 million by the end of the year. My table in February 7th on my birthday is the most accurate pandemic profit projection table in the world. It is beyond anything from healthcare. Why? Because I'm an economist and a numbers guy. I spent a lot of time getting that put together. So I'm ashamed to be accurate. I wish I was wrong. I said I want to be wrong, but you're right, etc. So what do you expect? CO Space had it right day one. If you don't look back and see that with pride, I don't know what to tell you about your life work. We're in super volatility and super change 2020. We deliver answers and solutions, and they include what? Now wait for it. There's urgency now as we go into the second half and the summer. Joining CO Space is urgent. People that freeze up and won't act and won't take some investment to protect themselves and be in a better community. Community is everything now, and we're the #1 community. To get through this, health and wealth, you need community. We're the best. No one can do, you can't take second because it's like a Richter scale. Second is hundreds of times under CO Space. You have other business models. They're not going to work as they worked before. Have you noticed? Are you seeing it? How you doing? Watch. I don't care if you're home building in Kansas or whatever. Just watch what's coming. So CO Space is going to soar. And we're going to have members coming at us like you've never seen. We're growing because we're serving safe harbor. Now, what does that mean? Let me give you a mid-year report. Our profits to date are up over last year. Our income to date is up over last year. Our graph has gone from down last year to up. And we don't have all hands on deck yet, but we will, because there's nothing you can do in your life for other people that matters more. This is the biggest use of your life in your lifetime. So as we go forward, just on the virus, winter is coming. There's going to be shock and awe in financial markets. Just wait and see. We tell you, trust us. I don't like it. I don't want you to live through it, but you're going to see it. We alone insulate owners, period. We alone insulate owners, period. No one else has a clue. And the copycats are doing 10% of what we do. We offer life insurance for lifestyle, and nobody comes close. We predicted it all. You know we did, and we're right again. We tooled last year the solutions. Again, first, I don't know if you have enough pride in the leadership of teams. This isn't a person saying, I did this or anything else. Nobody can do this. This is some of the greatest mastermind brains assembled for months. This is input from Tony Robbins and Jack Canfield and some of the greatest thinkers in Washington, Raul Campos, heads of the firms, L. Ron Musk's attorney, Mark Cuban's attorney, Jamie Dimon's attorney. This is the best brains we can get. And we harden and we do more. We harden our businesses and we do more. And we do way more. And it's life or death for people. You can't help people with your life like this. You can't help them. I mean, it's the most important thing you can do. We're in a crisis, it's going to be here for years. Now, pandemic prosperity planning, that's an intellectual property. That's something we invented. That's an invention. CO Space is the 4th decade industry leader for solutions for small business to grow faster. The exclusive pandemic prosperity planning upgrade, so shock and awe economics will not negatively affect you. I want you to learn that. What is CO Space? Because you're going to practice this in breakout rooms in a minute. Make notes then. CO Space is the 4th decade industry leader for solutions for small business to grow faster. The exclusive pandemic prosperity planning upgrade, so shock and awe economics will not negatively affect you. CO Space, make notes because you're going to practice, is the answer. It's safe harbor and a seawall to protect members, helping one another from back-to-back financial hurricanes hitting your shores in the second wave of pandemic 2020 into 2025. Sail into safe harbor with us. Pick your dock fee priced for every owner affordability in crisis. And work with those that want more and ask for referrals from those that it's not a fit. You don't have time to convince them. You just don't. Work with those who deserve help and support, and don't try and work with people who are frozen and their software of their brain is all garbled. You just can't work with them. CO Space is owners in community helping one another. What is CO Space? We're owners in community helping one another. It's owners upgrading tools, skills, and tactics continuously because the super change is happening monthly. You can't have an event. You have to continue to upgrade tools, skills, and tactics in reaction to what's going on in the market. No one has an ongoing process for that. Owners acquiring new clients endlessly. Make notes now. Superior mentors resolve challenge. No delay to your own stable higher pay. Our people are doing great because of this. And I'm saying 99% of everybody needs it and they don't know what's out there and they can only find it from you. CO Space is community. It's community. It's the most important thing in the crisis. Choose your community. Get number one. It's press rank number one for a decade. It's the superior owner community. It's the number one biz accelerator community. Now, this is so important that you accent this. I can't stress this enough. It's a process of ongoing income events monthly. It's a process of ongoing income events monthly once you're in. It's fun. It's exciting. It's insulating from risk and loss. Now, I think after half a year, this really means something to you. Industry titans play here. The head of C-Suite, the founder of Constant Contact. You know who we have lined up, what September's got coming? We create switched on, turned on home space. We create switched on, turned on workspace. We give you prediction and control for stable growth. It's a process versus an event. It's never ending. These slides are to print. These slides are having a work area. These are tools at the mid-year This is your language for the second half. This reduces the impression time to close and get customers. We're more help than any place. We're more support than any place. We're leaders helping leaders. We're turning into each other, not on each other. We're unconditionally helping each other. That's how we get through crisis. For all business, and you have to buy into this, and you can tell them, the worst is still in front of us. What did work will not work ever again. Ever. The markets are super changing. My God, I wrote the book on it. Leaders must grow and adapt, or super change will wipe them out. Adapting in super change is hard. We alone lead. We wrote the book on it.
12:30.
Urgent. It is urgent. This is the biggest sentence you can use. It ought to be on a Post-it. It ought to be in your work area. It ought to be everywhere. And you all ought to get your voicemails upgraded, because we're the answer. And you ought to identify with us, period. It'll drive all your other business. It is urgent to join the right community. It is urgent to join the right community. For all of you, my God, you're in it. You lead it. Be more active, more committed. Be in it. You're changing lives and futures. It's long-term, regular, month-to-month help. It's long-term, through the crisis, regular, month-to-month help. It's the right community. It's the best community. Community will define success from July to 2025. Join the wrong community, whoa, you can't make it up later. You, all of you, my partners, my life partners, all 20 of you on right now, you transform futures in the worst crisis of generations since the Depression. Your work with this is a miracle in the lives of others. You restore confidence in the lives of others. You replenish leadership in the lives of others. You heal the unhealable, as we're doing with those that are suffering, dying. You are their miracle. We are their miracle. It doesn't exist out there like it does here. Work with believers. You lack time to waste. Too many need what I've just given you. Be discerning and serve those that deserve your time. Now I ask you in your life, where is your biggest contribution to spirits that are in the world? You're in it. Stop being fragmented and diluting all your stuff to what you've done. Nothing you do impacts lives more than CO Space. We've told you from January, but your discipline, you still want to do things like 2019. Prospect 9 to 7, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Avoid digital distractions. Stop giving your time to emails and jokes and sidebars. Do that at 7 and 8. At 9, you're working and you're doing good work and you're managing yourself. And you work extra days. You work 6 days. We're in crisis. There is no weekends off. You close it up Tuesday and Thursday, but you have calls 7 days a week except Sunday. Sunday you rest, you take off. If you're Seventh-day Adventist and it's your Saturday, you do that on Sabbath. But you have your day off and the rest you're working. You do Zoom or conference call all the time to wrap up your closing. And we're really on it now. We're doing great to help you get people in. Work longer hours and work smarter. I can't make it. You have to really stop doing what you used to do and just do what we're telling you. And you'll have plenty of money. You won't believe what will happen. You have solutions and answers. Nobody has it. You have an ongoing process. Nobody has it. You have the best community. Choosing the right community is what's going to get you through. Now use tools. And so after hours, never during the workday, you're with new people selling. That's your business. Get all your prospects in NAC daily, either morning, before you start, or after day. not during work time. You don't use work time for clerical work, accounting, bookkeeping. Avoid digital time traps. Do not get locked in digital time traps. When people phone you and it's not revenue, I've got 5 minutes, I got to get off for a hard stop. Work smarter, control your time. Use a raw calendar and a rainbow graph. Have private meetings with Ellen and she'll shut you up in your workspace. She'll do it with Zoom. Once you have it, you will run your business by the numbers and your business will not be running you. You're out of control. You're not running it by business and math and numbers. It isn't hard. You don't have to be a detail person. We've made it graphic and easy. But if you don't use those tools, you won't make as much. You'll double your income if you use a rainbow graph and a wall cal. Or your business is out of your control. So you can decide how you want to do it, but we're telling you what the answer are. We are the biz answer for you too. Solutions for how to run your business. Endless new customer markets monthly. They're out there everywhere. Get in every Zoom interactive. Don't be on webinars where it's one way. Life insurance for income is what you offer because they're going to lose half their income coming up. You just can't imagine what's coming. When you see it, you wish that this was your gospel. You wish that we just brought the tablets down and you guys get away from the calves and dancing naked. Let's make the 10 Commandments work. Safe, proven, press rank, the leader. It's urgent to join this community. No delay given the crisis today. What is the word? Urgent to join this community. No delay given the crisis today. What have our leaders failed? They failed to tell us the worst first and the truth faster, which I started publishing in January. Cornerstone question. I'm with a customer. You're going to do this in workshop. Take note. You're going to do it in breakouts coming up right now. Do you think you need help to win in this long-term crisis? Do you want to secure your income in crisis today? Would you, in 72 hours, explore and decide on the answers and support with us? Get that answer before you start. Proceed as follows. If yes, present a one-page on how you're going to give them a video, a deep dive, a private mentor call, and a decision. If no, ask if they know any owners or professionals who would like to grow faster in a pandemic crisis, as CO Space is ranked #1, and we hope they'll reconsider later. That's it. No more time waste. Stop selling uphill. Don't push water uphill. Sidebar benefits. And always restate it. They need repetition. This is on your one page. Benefits. We produce skill, tools, tactics, and plan upgrading. We produce customer markets and more. We produce prediction and control for your business future. We produce switched on, turned on community. And we produce calm in the eye of the storms. Do you know how important that is when it's on a piece of paper and you're handing it to them? What do they want most out of that whole list? The bottom. Are you saying it? No, and you don't write it and you don't put it down. It's the most important. Don't you want that? Don't you want this with what you're seeing as a mess out there in leadership? Now I'm going to have an open mic. It's chairman time. Ellen, any questions? Question topics. All right? What is likely to come next in the economy? When and how? What do UCPs need more of from us that will help you, that you really want us to know about? This is our mastermind time. It's half a year is gone in the biggest change we've ever had since you've been alive, and the worst of it's ahead. How can you work more cooperatively? You guys should do cross calls for each other, talk to each other's clients, do private calls. You should be referring to each other's markets. If someone has customers in Seattle, split it and give it to Mary or give it to Carol or share each other, help each other. Are you doing that the most you can? Are you actually trying to help each other in a crisis more? Couldn't we be more of an example? Couldn't you be more cooperative? Couldn't you just let go of the trapeze and fall into the safety net of your club president family and community and love each other more in this crisis? How can you work more cooperatively? Cross call, form buddy teams. Will you be my CP buddy? Lead share more. Or questions on your other business. I'm doing home building. What do you think is going to happen? I'm doing midwifing. What do I think is going to happen? Any question you have. It's chairman time. You know, it's a time for open mid-year, let's do it. Then we'll go into an exercise. So what I'd like to do now is, who has questions? Any kind, any basis, anything that is troubling you, anything on the health issues, anything you need. Personal, how are you guys doing? Anything. Who wants to ask questions of the chairman, founder? You know, we're going to update you on what's coming, by the way, all the stuff we're going to do the second half of the year.
All right, I have one.
Yes, sir. Say name and state, because I can't see you.
Yeah, name's Jamie Cooney, Seattle, Washington. What's your take on these negative interest rates? What's that going to look like?
Negative interest rates are the end of an economics. When you park money and you lose money to park it, you no longer have economics. So competitive economics in capitalism and socialism is a failed model and is dying. It's going to be replaced with a cooperative economics, but it's going to take time because the system of 1% all over the world, so we have 7 billion people, 1% own 99% of the wealth. This is not sustainable for a system. You can't have enough circulation, so the system always melts down. The two things you can't have in economics is consolidation of wealth, because you impact circulation, and speculation. So the tail is the trillions invested in real assets you hold. The dog is $500 trillion a day being side bet in a casino on which way prices may go, shorting Tesla or whatever the market is on all assets. Every asset, a dollar, an umbrella, a blade of grass, seed, everything is being speculated. When you have a casino capitalism, the framework of regulation to keep that down got surpassed in 2007. Because while they tried to save the system, we went from 80% human trading to 96% AI trading. And AI is outside regulation in the cloud and is all speculation driven. So the first generation of AI was outside regulation. And you can't regulate from the US and the SEC anymore. You have to regulate from the G100 because they'll put their trading platform in Liechtenstein. So you have to, you got China, everybody's at war with everybody else's currency, money, etc. We're in economic World War III.
And then I have a second question. So do you have a recommendation for somebody who teaches how to function in bankruptcy?
Well, when you have expertise on the current bankruptcy law, I think you're a godsend for people approaching it. And my recommendation is if you're at the point of it's a no-brainer, go bankrupt first because the lineup is going to get really long. It's going to take a long time to get through a bankruptcy. So have a fresh start as soon as you can. And your credit will come right back. It's just amazing now. There's no stigma to it at all, especially now because it's all blamed on pandemic. So in the next 2 years, if anybody has to go. And the business of doing that and advising them is a great blessing where you can give them comfort and calmness of the steps and remove shame and stigma and stop relabel it on all your forms and documents, fresh start bankruptcy. The time to restart in pandemic is yesterday, okay? But right. Don't bankrupt people who can do workout and can repair credit and have options, and business brands, fight for your brand. But, today the biggest stock boost for the big fortune companies is bankruptcy. They go bankrupt, reorganize, get their debts reset, and come out and they're able to operate reformed, but they really took out an awful lot of people that trusted them, got wiped out. But they were okay. So big companies are going bankrupt as strategy. Does that help you? Does that need more? Is that good?
Bernie,
Yes.
this is Carol. The cryptocurrency stuff, is that going to happen?
We're in the first generation of cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is not any real store of value or anything else. It's a theory of how account ledgers are managed in a first generation of it. The more advanced, like the fifth generation, is being done out of China. It's being done by a two-time MIT graduate. His name is Michael Sung. He's on our team. We talk weekly. It will be the new currency of the world. It'll be the first real digital currency. It's not the Chinese government, by the way. They have their own, and he consults to them. But he has done a model that cryptos everything. He can take handkerchiefs and sugar and corn, and he's working with nations and governments and Morgan Stanley and CO Space. And we will release and bring that crypto to the world, and it will change everything. And I've been consulting to him and with him, and I'm going to explain all that after we do our workshops and tell you what's coming, because that's one of the big things. And so it's generational. The first, second, third generation. Let me give you the status. Over $1 trillion has been hacked. Every platform, every crypto has been hacked. The idea that it's unhackable and not securitized, they've all been hacked. And all the sanctioned countries are making fortunes. The sanctions mean nothing because they're stealing the money from banks and crypto. I mean, you can use it, but I wouldn't store value in it. You know, if you want to use it as an exchange medium, but if you want to, you know, say what's the safest place to store if you go to cash? US dollars. Anybody who tells you the dollar is going to be worthless, the dollar runs the world, and the world can't run without the dollar. It isn't gold and silver anymore, it's the dollar. That's where the big money's storing their money. They're not trying to get out of the dollar. And the people saying the dollar's going down, like Stansfield report, they've been wrong for 20 years. So, I mean, they're sensationalists. They like to talk about that, but they really have the economics wrong.
So
We're
Bernie,
the strongest, just make this understood. We are the strongest economy in the world, and the world runs off us. Nothing else is even close. Now, we're diminishing our stature because of leadership errors, but that could reverse, that could change. I always say, don't give up on the U.S. because we lost Pearl Harbor economically. Wait till we win the war. We're fully engaged. We got very bright people up there. NSA, the military, etc. They're in charge. They're doing great, and they're fighting for us, and we're fighting back now. But you know, China and Russia want to. Do they want Biden or Trump? It's so stupid, all the media. China and Russia are in World War III. They launched it this year, and it's economic. Their goal is to increase their influence at the table. They want the election so that China and Russia win. They want America reduced in stature. They want a higher stature with the EU. Their goal is to maximally divide the West. They spent since 2007 doing it. How do you think they've done? How is it divided in EU? I think the EU will break up because of debt. That's what they want. That's what they want. Then they become much more powerful, and we're reduced, but we're still the most powerful. So that's their goal. Nothing's going to remove our being the lead of the world. Nothing.
so Bernie, how would you summarize what, as club presidents, we need to do differently right now than we did last year?
It's all in the slides you just got. And if you don't see that
How would
difference,
you summarize it?
Well, Mary, really and truly, I tell you this with love. I have tattooed it on your body. I have taken branding irons and put it on your head. We are delivering in the worst crisis that's going to 2025 answers and solutions to have pandemic prosperity plans so the crisis doesn't affect your business and you profit in any market. If you don't have new tools, new skills, and ongoing support in community, you are at risk of losing 50% of your income or more by the spring.
So the difference is our communication, to summarize.
No,
It's not
it is
really
not
the
our
activities.
communication. It is our community. You have to be in a community that will bring you more business. If you choose the wrong community, you can't get your time back. You're going to get wiped out.
Thank you.
Do you want to be in a community that everybody's cooperative and helping each other in business, or do you want to be in a competitive community and slug it out there? How's it working for you? I mean, if they don't get it, Mary, it's just too easy. So study these slides. I'm not going to go over this over and over because I've given you the absolute blueprint. If you get this inside yourself, you repeat it to yourself, you go through the slides over and over, you print them, you underline, you make notes because that anchors in your mind. It becomes you. You become that. You won't believe the lower time footprint. You'll start enrolling everybody in 72 hours.
Bernie, this is Vanessa.
Hi, Vanessa. God bless you.
Thank you, sir, and blessings to you as well. For someone who's transitioning from the workplace, getting into more business ideal concepts, and right now rolling over large sums of money from my 401k, putting it into like self-directed IRA so that I can sustain in business, in a business model. Do you have any other advice or any other safe models with knowing what you know now that's coming down the pipe?
Well, where is your primary focus for income?
Right now, it's been my job, but I want to take like the money.
When you go to out of your job, what is your focus? You can't leave an income job unless you are, and you're going to go into business, unless you have your business income in mind. What is the new business income?
The new business model is going into where it appears that real estate has sustained the test of time. So getting more into notes, real estate, ventures.
Okay, here's what I think is likely. I think real estate is going to have an enormous crash, but not yet. The May numbers came in today. Existing home sales in May, because of the low interest rates they're giving us, went up 44% in 1 month. I think real estate's going to absolutely boom for a while, but when the super crash hits, we'll see deflation, property drops, but there'll still be a lot of activity, a lot of turnover. You know what I'm saying? What you've got, we're at 20 million out of work, but it's actually higher because the counts are wrong. The data you have is wrong. It's going to be 50 million out of work by the end of the year. What is coming from all that out of work? So July, we're just coming to July, and you've got 10 million people are going to run out of unemployment benefits. Record defaults are going to occur in commercial property and in homes. So the mortgage delinquency is soaring already, but it's just beginning. And so we're going to see what you never saw in 2007. The numbers, we didn't have 50 million out of work. I mean, they can't pay their home payments. We're going to have more homelessness. We're going to have more people lose property than we've had, unless something, maybe government will do something, which I don't know if any of you watch Vic. He's a New York entertaining, swear word using basher of all these leadership failures, but he tells the banks, he goes, why can't you just give everybody an extra year, put it on the back, make it at the end, and give us a break, you robber barons? And I mean, really, they could do it on a spreadsheet and everybody would be getting through this. And they may have to do it. Maybe there'll be solutions that they finally have to do. Maybe they'll cooperate. But right now, they all want their money. The banks are if you don't pay them, they can't wait because they have a law that says you can't evict them. That in July, they start the evictions. Massive evictions are going to happen between now and September. Homelessness rising up. It's going to affect real estate prices. We're at the end of the great real estate boom, not the beginning of a new one.
And I guess I'm looking more specifically to where I can put the money that I have saved, you know, $1 million, $500,000, put that somewhere where I can sustain and operate from that business model.
I've written in my blog, you go to my blog and you search diversified insurance investing.
Okay.
And you put the money that you need fixed income, and I give you two of our leading players. They're on the call, some of them, who are licensed, and they're not insurance agents. They're investment professionals in the insurance industry. They will put your fixed income in annuities, and you'll get a check every month. They'll put growth assets in what's called an index product. They've been making 14% compounded. But you can't guarantee that the performance of the past and what's coming will be the future. And they'll put money you need overnight in what's called permanent insurance. You can get it overnight, bank wired to your house, and you'll make 4% right now. Now that could change depending on what happens, but that's 400% more than the banks pay. Now, those companies are top tier. When the banks were closed, now if you think the banks can't close, the Fed is in panic. It's buying trillions of stocks and bonds so the market doesn't crash. The market is on life support. That's the truth. If you want to deny that, you have the information and you are adults. I mean, you have to know what's going on. The Fed, Friday, double panicked and told the banks you can no longer do stock buybacks. You can't take deposit money, buy back stock to keep your price up. It's a casino. It's a phony baloney manipulation. You also can't pay dividends because you don't have enough money for all the losses coming. Prepare for $1 trillion of losses by December. $1 trillion by December. And you big banks, the biggest, you can't make it. So preserve your cash. We're ordering you. You haven't had a panic like that since 1929. That's what Friday was. The market didn't panic because the economists are glad they did it because they think the banks, that may be a chance for the banks to get through. They think the Fed will do anything to get through. But when panic hits, the Fed can't handle it. They can't do anything about it. Because what happens, AI just switches all the orders to sell. There are no buy orders. I call it liquidity evaporation day. When LED day hits, the market freezes, it's over. The banks will close. The institutions, Morgan, everything, just 29 all over. During that time, the only checks you got, now I learned this from David Rockefeller. I learned this from the wealthiest people in New York City. This is what they did in the 20s. And diversified insurance investing, they never lost a dime of principal. Principal's guaranteed. Everybody in banks got wiped out. And they never missed their checks. They had checks when no one else was paying, all during the Depression. And they bought all the wealth up after. So I'm telling you, do what the wealthy do. Do diversified insurance investing. Right now, the biggest money in the world is doing it. They're doing it with a friend of mine, Craig Hampton. It's called the Hampton Freeze. You can look it up. And the premiums on one policy are $10 billion. And it stores money for the super wealth. They're coming in at trillions into the freezes to store their money in that model. So the insurance companies are sucking in the wealth of the world because they're the more conservative money managers because they have to pay life insurance and death benefits. And they have to manage money differently. They can't be in the speculation and gambling because it all go broke. So they've proven to be the best minds over money. The government and the Wall Street and the banks have been trying to take them over and smash their laws. But the biggest lobby is that lobby, and they won't let them do it. Those laws are not going to change because the Congress knows that's our backbone. That's our safety net. And so get into it. And I put you all the data, how to do it. on diversified insurance investing. You can search that and share that URL, bookmark that page with anybody that wants that answer, that you can give them solution and answers for their money and their retirement. I'm telling, you've read it. If you read my blog, I've said all year, get out of stocks, get out of bonds, and get into diversified insurance investing. When it's too late, it'll be too late. Does that help you?
Yes, yes, thank you, sir.
And I would do it this week. I have the phone numbers of our best people, West and New York City. Get to San Francisco and New York City. If you're East West Coast, get with one of our great lady leaders and just get the information. They don't sell. They just give you data until you have enough data.
Thank you.
Okay, I hope that helps everybody. And who else? Any other questions that I can help you with?
Good afternoon, Bernie. How you doing?
My pleasure. I'm doing great. Feel great.
All right. Hey, I'm calling from New York City. You know, people hurting up here, and
You're in my city, pal.
say it again.
You're in my city, pal.
Yes, and I'm happy to be coming aboard, and this being, you know, being where it's an epicenter of people hurting financially. So really just need a lot of coaching and supporting to know how to share this in the community up here.
Well, work with me often. Phone me as often as you want. You all can
Yes.
phone me daily. You can phone as often as you want. Just phone my cell phone. And you can phone with clients. You can make appointments. You can book my calendar. But you can phone for coaching. It's not a nuisance. And just make a little list of like 3 to 5 questions. Phone me. We'll go through those. Then tomorrow and the next day and the next, just as they come up. And it's layered learning. You get skill by layered learning. And you'll just fast track your way in. And our whole teams are doing the same thing. You phone September, you phone Ellen, you phone Jason. All of us are helping and working with you, all our teams and all the CPs. You know, get a 21-year veteran like Richard Kay and others who are doing great, by the way, and they'll tell you, here's how you do it.
Got it.
And you're going to do great in New York. We're the answer for New York. And your founder is decades living there, ran one of the biggest broker publicly traded investment banking firms, and is school trained and grew up and mentored in New York City. My law firms are there. You know, it's my tribe. And by the way, just shouting out for, you know, not just Black Lives Matter, because Chinese and Filipinos and all lives matter. And I mean, I'm so on this, and I think all the violence and all this stuff you're seeing is a spiritual destruction of negative energy, and its outtake will be a revolution of cooperation.
Yes.
And a renaissance of our spirit rising in the world. I think 7 billion of us are going to end up coming together. Now, can we do it without a war because of politicians? I don't know. I hope so. I hope we're not so insane that we have to go to that stage. And remember, the pandemic's killing more than all the wars. No one's killing a person every 15 seconds. And that's rising. It's going to get down to 1 second.
Can I share something, Dad?
You sure can. This is
Can you
London,
see me?
my daughter Preet.
Yes. So happy to see you.
Yeah, I'm good.
You
Don't
mentioned.
worry. I'm good. September's all over me.
God bless
watching
you.
me like a hawk.
So the politicians are not just talking about war between humans, they're talking about wars between interplanetary wars. That really worries me, and I've been thinking and learning and researching so much about it. And as you said,
I would really not get distracted. So the concept, you know, there's a concept that has no proof or verification, that species of the cosmos will not let us destroy the water planet. But I am telling you, we have enough problems in solving our problems here as human beings, and it is only one problem. Competitive thinking is insanity. It's a form of human insanity. So there is no good competition. Competition is human insanity. Heaven, if you have any idea of it, is the absence of competitive thought. Now, cooperation is heaven because it's the absence of competitive thought. In 1988, we started the biggest and final revolution for human thinking in politics, government, and the world and business. We started with fortune companies reforming cultures. We started with firms like 3M and IBM and Tyco, and to some degree, we have changed culture in corporations. So all the FANG companies and all the winners are more cooperative, and they've gone by all the competitive companies. And all the competitive companies are adapting or dying. And so you have to be more cooperative to win. And so the cooperation revolution is now reaching nations and government. It's unstoppable, it's sustainable, and it's the legacy of our life work together. Now we need to get serious about really growing that, because we are ground zero for the most important work in human thought and consciousness. And I would spend all your time not worrying about interplanetary war. I would start, and I wouldn't worry about war at all, because you can't do anything about it. You can't do anything about it. What you have to do is, no matter what happens, how do we do okay? And how you do that is serve people, and serve them well with your highest legacy. What will give the people we serve the highest value? And the answer is remove the stress of their financial survival and well-being, because that creates illness, and it creates divorce, and it creates suicide, and it creates all the other stuff. If you're secure that you're going to have enough food and shelter, etc., we deliver that like no one else in the world. There's no work you can do, and you do it by putting people in a conscious, awake, cooperative community. That's what's going to change the world. Nothing else even comes close. We're Mount Everest. Everything else you do with your life is a foothill. There is no legacy back to spirit and God and community like CO Space. It is a revolution that is going to change the entire world, and it's now unstoppable. And I'm going to explain that at the end. Now, we have a lot of work to do, so I want to get everybody. How many others are out there with questions? So far, nobody's asked for anything from us. Are you feeling and you can open mic on this, Ellen, do all of you can just go whoop whoop. Do you feel you're getting enough from us, and it's consistent, and it's right paced, and it's more than enough? You're happy with what you're getting from our leadership and the tools that we're giving. Are you happy, or are there deficiencies and you need more?
Bernie, you and the team are providing so much resources and information and encouragement. It's phenomenal. And thank you for this call. The wealth of information you provided here is remarkable. I've learned a lot, new language sets, and how to approach people who said, we don't need this shit. We're doing fine. So thank you for that.
Well, you just say, if you think things are going to be great and we're on the other side of this, we'll help you grow faster, and you'll get more customers faster. If you don't need that, then we're not a fit. If you think things are going to get rough, it's urgent that you join the better community.
Yeah, and that's, to me, that's part of the whole key, is it's community, that it's family. And when people get that, and the collaboration and cooperation, it's like, wow, okay, that's different. And the fact that we don't sell anything. There's no upsells. They love that.
Yeah, and I think that's very powerful. But again, that last line, we produce calm in the eye of the storms. That's so powerful when you put it on a piece of paper as their follow-up to what the 72-hour process is. All right, so everybody's got that. Thank you, Richard, for all these decades. Let's go into a little work with each other. All right, so for exercise, I'm going to have Ellen break you into rooms of 3. I want you to use your gallery view so you can see left or right, and you just know the right person's the timekeeper. Don't have delay. Timekeeper points and says go, and you've got 3 minutes. What is CO Space? Doesn't matter what you say. No comment, no feedback. Next, next. Then when you stop, you're going to hear everybody. Then redo yours. Do another 3 minutes. Try and get 2 in if you can, or 3. In 10 minutes, we're going to get back. If you stop to comment and give each other input, you're not going to get 3 turns of 3 yourself. When you get done with 3 turns, then you can do feedback till she calls you back. So 3 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes, and you're back. But some of you will be early and you can go again because you'll get your 1 minute and you'll be able to do it, more quickly. Does everybody get that? Everybody get what we're going to do? Ellen, are you ready to put people in rooms of 3?
Yes, because of the numbers, there's going to be a couple that are not.
That's fine.
It's close.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, so we're good. So I'm going to let you take over, and we'll be back in just that time. It's go time, and then we'll do what did we learn from that. And we got one more. I'm just at what do you just learn from when you did this exercise? What did you learn from that? What did that exercise in our business help you? What did that do?
Well, we all formulated a picture in our mind,
Yeah.
But we didn't all use the same words.
Right. Well, and by the way, you're not parrots, and it
No.
has to be yours.
Right.
Right. So you have to have ownership of it. But the words that we're giving you are the words that work. So I have really tested with clienteles what shortens the process to make a decision. It isn't Bernicizing or giving them all of this. It's giving them what you have now on slides. They're responding to that. It just divides those that want to grow faster, want to use us. Those that think the worst is yet to come, want to join community to protect themselves. And that's our market. And it's so massive. I mean, the pandemic's driving people to us. You couldn't have a better market. Does anybody else want to give feedback, or was Carol's universal for everybody?
I would like to give a little feedback. I was very pleased to know that I had absorbed so much of what you shared with us this morning and was able to basically, with my own words, give it back from my heart. And that's very powerful. So thank you, Bernie.
Yep, that's good. I see you all, by the way. Jay, you look so pretty. You've been through it too, buddy. I'm glad you're all healthy out there. Yeah.
Hey, Bernie. So I was in a group with Vanessa and Mary, and
Good.
but I noticed as we kept going around, I saw that we kept building off of one another.
Well, that's what I wanted.
So as something was missing, in in my notes or in my language, I heard it in Vanessa, then I heard it in Mary, and then there was synergy. So synergy was created organically as we were doing this process.
Well, let's let Ellen set up on Saturday a group rehearsal for CPs, and she'll set up a time. And anybody who wants to play, just come in and play. We'll just have a big room and go around, let everybody play. And you guys will do it yourselves. And it'll build, like you're saying, it'll be great. And you'll have the slides behind you. Now, on time, I'm going to take you into another exercise because we have work to do. And I want to finish with what's coming the second half of the year. You don't know. Ellen doesn't know. September does. Well, September knows more. And you're going to all get it. So we're going to put you in new rooms of 3. Same drill, right person's the timekeeper, no delay. And now you ask anyone in the room, the person next to you, and they're just role playing, they're pretending to be a customer, and you ask the cornerstone questions from the slides. Do you want to grow faster? Do you think we've got a lot of storm clouds coming? Would you like a better community to grow in? And you've got the words, you've made notes on it, any way you want. And so you've got 3 minutes to interact and assess, and the timekeeper says done, and the next person then asks. And then the next person then asks. That's 9 minutes. Then at the end, we're going to give you 9 minutes of free-for-all. So we'll be back in 20 minutes, and that'll get us off right early on our timeline, and I can finish the slides of what's coming, which will blow you away. So I want you to always, if you get complete, say, hold up your cell phone and say, can we cell phone off the sheet you just gave them? You know, the follow-up for it, you'll see the videos by tomorrow. We'll have a deep dive tomorrow, the next day. And then if we need a mentor call, we'll get that done in 72 hours. Is that good for you? Why don't we put that in our cell phone so we know our times and dates when you're free? So we're pending events. We're starting a closing sequence, and you get in the habit of doing it. So I want you all to feel that you can handle that. And so we're interviewing a client when you start, doesn't matter which one you pick. Any CP can put in questions and pretend to be a tough client, and you overcome it, and you've got 3 minutes to go through. You're just qualifying, am I going to work for you or ask you for referrals? You want to not spend lots of time with people who aren't going to enroll. You just don't have time for that. You're too valuable.
Bernie, would you please put the Cornerstone slide up again? My camera didn't take earlier, and I didn't write it down because I thought I had a picture.
Well, I can't go back to that right now, so I appreciate it, but I can't. There
Well, I'm sure somebody got it.
Will you just pass on your pass, because people took notes, and you'll hear it from their notes. So first of all, when you start, you don't have to finish, right? So time's up, 3 minutes, and we'll have 3 minutes of plussing at the end, right? Now, I was going to give you 5 minutes to pitch, but I'm doing it 3 because I don't think we need it. And finish early, then you go next, because that'll give you more, right? So we got 20 minutes total time. We want 3 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes, right? That's 9 minutes, 10 minutes. And then a 10-minute roughly to free-for-all and build. And you can redo if you want. All right, so that's how we're doing it. We'll all be back in 20 minutes. And this will be a real good session. But I do want to make sure everybody's clear. Are there any questions before we go to go time? Everybody got it? I mean, I think you do have it, and I think you're in good shape there. So let's, Ellen, if you'll put them back in rooms, different rooms, and everybody enjoy this. This is going to really be good, and it's going to change the second half of our year. Change the second half of our year. You watch. It's going to make everything rise, which is fantastic. All right? And then the best I've saved for the last.
Okay.
Well, you guys have done a lot of work. I want to thank you for it. And I do want to tell you, because you got a little C virus brain fog here that you may not accommodate, that I didn't know it was the 4th of July, Saturday. So we'll move that practice session a week. But I do want to tell you, on the holiday, it's a great time for prospecting. Everybody's together. It's a time to celebrate. Talk to your grads, wish them a 4th of July, ask them all for 3 leads of people who like to grow faster the second half of the year, that we've really got a lot of new programs going. We're offering a lot more frequent ability to get customers and clients virtually, and we want them to plug into this virtual experience and just celebrate them, send 4th of July cards, use it as a vehicle. Now, who would like to, Richard, do you want to give a summary, or someone that would like to speak up? What did we learn from that? Was that helpful as a starter point? Did it also build and help you?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, let someone else go. I already spoke to it, so let somebody else
Okay,
go.
Rich. No, go ahead. I just jumped in, but no, you.
No,
go
I'm
for
just
it.
saying go, because I spoke last.
Well, if you're all good and we've got the process, what I want you to do is to continue to do some practice and work, because I want increasingly to not just be in a lecture format. I want to do some work so we train and have a second half that really gets you, so you can all make by December an income that's bigger than you made the last 3 years. I want you to really do well. And I want to tell you, because of time and my commitment to time, where we're going and what is coming. So let's do a little work on that, because you're going to have some new stuff. So summary, all right, of what we've done in our work today. You transform leader futures in a crisis. The worst global crisis of our generation is coming. You provide answers and solutions that they don't exist. You're the best of the best that's available in the world. World titans are playing here and coming to us now. Unicorns, I'm consulting to 5, are growing up here. These are billion-dollar companies. They're growing up here. But now, at the beginning of the second half, it is urgent because of what's coming. Make no mistake. My blog is right. Now, there is consequence for failed competitive leadership misses. The consequences compound in competition, and they can't be fixed until we cooperate. Competition can't fix the problems of competition, only cooperation can. We're running out of our economic time room in 2020. The great rebalancing of economic abuse, primarily debt, has begun. And the failure of leadership to resolve the issues while we had time is hurting us in health and why? Because of competition. So y'all know. World depression economically, and you can deny this, you don't have to put it out to people. We're going into a depression, not a recession. The EU may break up. There's going to be instability all over the world. You'll see, just wait. So I'm not going to go into it. A new world order is coming. It's a war. It's planned by Putin and Xi. America is to be reduced, and it's being reduced. It is reduced. We're banned from going to EU because we failed so badly in pandemic. The EU has banned America. China and Russia are just rising in influence and stature around the world. People look at their leadership as better. Look at Sunday at my words. Look at the words of Donald Trump. Look at the words of President Xi. Look at the words of Putin. You can see why the whole world is following the words. The EU may break up. Italy can't pay its debts. Spain can't pay its debts. Portugal can't pay its debts. The EU can't pay the debts. Germany wants out of bond buying. They want to stop buying the bonds. I mean, it's breaking up. Debt abuse must work out of the system. Bad debts. What is the non-performing debt? So there's $100 trillion at banks shown as good performing loans that haven't performed in 10 years. It's a fraud. That system has to work its way out. That pig of fraud reporting has to get through the system. Nothing will be as you knew it by 2025. So we're going to keep you ahead of it. Now there's great hope and promise. The Great Depression was at the end of an economic convergence period of 70 years. Now we're going into depression at the start of the biggest convergence economically that's happened since 1850. It's all in my book. That is so great because it is falling in depression to a trampoline that brings us right back up to 2030. Convergence. It shortens the negative impact. It slingshots restorations to what is coming in industry. How do you learn about it? Easy. On Super Change. Read and study with a ruler and margin notes, Super Change and Redemption. You get a free audiobook if you get this now while they're offering it. Get the free audiobook. Listen to it on convergence. Listen to the chapter on convergence. It'll make your heart flutter. It's the future. It's the good news. Use those books as gifts to drive referrals to buy. Thank yous drive people to buy. Acknowledge customers. A free audio book you can give them. Work with a new spring in your step from these slides, from this training. You are a lifesaver in 2020. This is your vocation. This is the highest calling you could make of giving your life to others. Now, community. Treasure your own. Treasure each other as family. Treasure our CP community. Unite us in purpose. Don't cross-sell or bring people into other things. Talk about how you're committed to CO Space, how grateful you are. Re-energize CO Space with each other. I can't do it by myself. You're my family. You kids have to do it. You have to take the values mom and dad have given you and make them your own with each other. reconnect the wonder in our own family. My God, it's so fantastic we have each other in this time. I'm so grateful for you. So grateful. Give gratitude to each other all the time. Acknowledge each other. Treasure each other. Lead as leaders. Raise your brand. You've reached CO Space, New York. Make your answer machine brand. Be your brand. Have your identities up. Have your voicemails and your cards and your identity and your websites. Lead with CO Space, because all your other business will go up with it. It's Mount Everest. It'll pull up everything else. You can't have a higher stature and title than your presidency of CO Space. You're blessed because it is blessed, because cooperation is the Holy Spirit. That's the truth. And you have to know that truth. No words for it.
Gotcha.
Cooperation. The cooperation movement, launched in 1988, has reached more fortune institutions and nations and is now unstoppable as my life legacy. There are only two states of mind: insanity and competition, or sanity and cooperation. Integrity is cooperation. Its absence is insanity and competition. Integrity is cooperation. Its absence is insanity and competition. This is what we teach to K through 12. We're teaching institutional insanity, but we'll get education right. You lead the revolution that will change the world. It's the biggest software change of humanity since Jesus Christ and Buddha. I mean, it is all their teachings. What do we need? We need to go public so we can advertise and build 5 continents of 30,000 attending 5 times a year and affect millions a year. We need capital. We've withdrawn our stock offering, and we're going to refund to you the people that have put money in. You can't sell it in this crisis. But we're going to venture funds now, and we're going to bring in capital. But we do need profits and growth. We've had an up bubble. We've had profits and reserves, and our bills are paid, and we're in such good shape. And you did that in the first half of the year in a crisis. And we're going to do better in the second. But we need CP recruitment. We need you to recruit with 20 million out of work and get us good career partners and no barriers. Start them right away. Get them started and turn them over to me, and I'll hire them. And we need to get the how and the when and the why. We need to grow so they know how to join us and why they should do it now and what it's going to be for their future. And we're going to give those profits back in advertising to lead gen to you. We'll make you wealthy. Help us grow faster by just enrolling well and recruiting. And very quickly we'll start advertising that'll make this like a pump you can't believe. Help us prime the pump. If you have venture firms that you get in touch with, tell them we're looking for a partner so we can go public. Full circle back to you in the wealth play. We're going to do it together, all of us. I'm working on it. It's serious now. I'm totally on this for 6 months. We need you. We need you to recruit CPs as never before, now and next year. We need you as you can to enroll week to week. That's all, just so you make enough money. And we all win so big because we can put the money back into ads and feed you. We have stature now, and we have it monthly that's growing. Man, I tell you, we're in the best place in this market that I've seen the company ever. I'm starting an advanced series of classes with its whole website that'll be up this fall, and you get a whole nother set of products to offer. BAM, the Business Acceleration Marketplace, is the most advanced founder program. It's the legacy work of my training and lifetime, and they get me teaching. I'm 20 years working with one of the top mentors of my life, a member for 20 years with CO Space. We're working with Roel Campos right now on escrows for 250 million this summer, with 10 billion fully committed from Europe, real. And we're opening up a micro city of 5 million people in New Mexico. Richard K. We're bidding 5 states, but it looks like New Mexico is going to be the winner. We'll break ground next summer. We will build cooperative capital cities. There'll be no competition in the city. They will be the cities of the future. We plan to have 10 in construction in 5 years. That's 50 million. Africa, China, the EU. We already have the governments bidding on it. I'm 20 years in this, folks. It's real. It's happening. It's coming together. CO Space is going to change the world with the cities of tomorrow. What you're doing helps get that going. I need the credibility of our success because I'm working with the heads of nations. In pandemic, the countries can no longer pay their debts. They're defaulting. I'm taking all their debts and refinancing them for 100-year bonds with the largest bond law firm in the world and the broker-dealers of the world behind it. I'm 5 years in. We have 7 countries moving toward the first super bonds this year. I had to cancel calls because I was in ICU with the United Arab Emirates, the president of Nigeria. I'll go on and on. From China to India, from Pakistan to Africa, 5 nations. We're working on super bonds. You will see CO Space become an institution, news like you've never seen. You're going to see stature, prestige. You're going to see world change. You're going to see all of it come together all at once. But changing the world takes a lifetime, and that's mine. And I don't lose focus. You can search my site for super bonds. If you have access to a governor, to a city, to a municipality, county, they are on their ass and cannot pay their bills. Their revenue is dropping to the floor. Their cost is soaring to the roof. Super bonds is the future. You should know it. Those are going to come online this year. Every super bond in every country will fund a microcity. Are you getting the picture of your work? Do you understand that you're giving us profits and sales and expansion of recruitment is going to change the world? This is the biggest world change, and you're in the biggest revolution, and there is nothing more important. Everything pales to insignificance to this work, which is why I ask for your commitment. BAM, the top of the hourglass, is going to fortune companies and the employees of the largest firms. We're going to sell corporate packages by the 100 to fortune companies to join BAM. And we're going to change the entire world. And you're going to get paid on it. Who's in this with me? Tony Robbins is in micro cities. In with me. Michael Sung in China advising President Xi is in Asia. Jack Canfield, my whole A team, they're all in. The top architectural firms who have built cities, the biggest contractors that are Fortune 10 companies are all in contractually. It's 20 years of mentorship and team building, and it's all landing right now. We worked all weekend on it because the escrows are opening. The money's there. Pandemic is driving the economic urgency. I don't think we could do it this fast without the pandemic. God's plan is always greater. That's why I have no words than our plan could ever be for our life. This is the work of the Holy Spirit. My God, it's certainly not me. It's certainly not me. The dream that I had in the 80s is game on. Your work drives our reputation to the head of nations. That's what I need. It's so important. Please help me. We need numbers, not big numbers, just your little numbers, to show the nations we're growing. Because every super bond has 10 cities in Nigeria at $1 million a city, 10 million a year for 10 years, 100 million, 5,000 at the forums. And we put those forums on in nations and transform countries to cooperation. That's what super bonds is doing. We need numbers and growth to show the partners of nations. We need numbers to plan and complete so we can give you a public company with your own public stock, with your own wealth, with massive lead flow into your wealth. You just can't make more. There's nothing else you can do that will do this. Nothing. Second half of this year, Harry is working on multi-million-dollar grants we have in play as a board member. I am working on venture partner investment to seed our IPO and take us public. Our work together is urgent, but it's really to help one life at a time, 1 week at a time, 1 forum at a time. That hasn't changed since 1988, and I'm so proud it hasn't. So I ask as our final slide, will you recommit in this crisis to the world as the highest work of your legacy in your lifetime? I give you mine. And I ask you to commit because you can see and you know you don't need more. If ever you believe me, believe this. Believe this. Your highest contribution good in life is CEO Space 2020. It is Mount Everest of your soul giving back to other souls. Everything else is a speed bump and a foothill. CO Space is your Mount Everest. Make this clear to yourself. I've told you, but you didn't get it. But now if you don't get it, I can't give it to you. Many are called, but you are chosen. And I know you know that. Nothing will grow you in contribution. Nothing will grow yourself, your soul, nothing. Not even close to the work we have defined here for the second half. Will you commit yourself to serve others as you've never committed before? I give you mine. I'm just out of ICU. I almost died for the 25th time. I guess God's plan for my life is a miracle. I give you my commitment, not for the second half of this year, for the decade to 2030. I give it to you. Will you commit yourself to the maximum service others need of us in this developing crisis? Wealth is the number of souls we serve in a month of our time. Wealth is the number of souls we serve in a month of time. Not your month, all our months, 1,000 CPs, all of us. That creates a public company and wealth. And we've got all we need to do it. All we need now is commitment. That's all we need now is commitment. So you've got the message. I want to be 10 minutes late and release you. And I want you to feel a recharge, I want you to feel this holiday is mid-year and the start of Financial Independence Day that we're going to bring to everybody. And the second half of the year in CO Space is their Financial Independence Day. And you wish all of your list happy Financial Independence Day with what we have coming forward. And you tell your family and your grads and your lectures and your previews, you got updated from the founder and you knew and you understood there was so much that had been completed you weren't aware of. But you now have the full vision and the full picture, and you know how important it all is. So I look at this, since I started CO Space, as the most important call, training, sharing in the history of any movement of modern times. And I don't want to compare to the great masters I've named, but all their work has been moved to competition. And we're bringing back that work to where it founded itself. So forgive me if I use my guy at the end, but he said there's only one law. Love your soul and yourself like you love the source God, and then love every other soul that same way. My God, why don't we teach that to children instead of taking prayer out of school? So I think we're going to have through all this the greatest transformation to the good and the light. But there's a lot of destructive forces to tear apart the negative to bring out what God's plan is. Because God only gives us so much time. And then remember, good and evil are constructs of our own. They're not real. All right? So on the playing board, we run around with the competition of good and evil. God puts his hand down. There's no good or evil. There's just pure destiny. And when destiny comes in with God's finger, everything moves to divine will without opposition of any kind. And we are in the middle of great destiny and the work of God. He's had enough with the competition. And the world is waking up. Make no mistake about that. So we have a lot of work to do to get it all right, but our life is a prayer and our work is a mission, and this is a business church, and we are changing the world and bringing all these spirits together, and we're going to dispel this ignorance and insanity. And if you will help me, we have and we will continue. We are changing the world. So God bless you and thank you. And your prayers mean a lot to us. And we'll heal up and keep you posted online how we're progressing, and we're doing just great. God bless you all. I'm a little late, but this was a big one. Let's go to work. Happy 4th of July to everybody.
Thank you, Bernie.
Thanks, Bernie. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Love you much, Bernie. Thanks so much. Veronica, New York.
Thank you, Bernie.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Dan.
Bernie.